much. Last Sunday we said it was gonna be a very volatile week, no clear direction. It pretty much happened like that. We had I think 2 or 3 big red days. Um, a lot of movement. Um, and in terms of profits, I came out negative, but because of some personal issues that like I was able to trade in the morning, and my biggest red day was the day I couldn't get the trade. So in the morning. So overall, we had a pretty. Uh, I'll lean more on the negative side of the week, mainly because we also cut losses early, and then later in the day they turned out to be like 100% winners, right? So, I mean, when you look at those, that just honestly, in my opinion, those are just unfortunate luck because we stick to the strategy of cutting losses early, um, and most of the time it's the right decision, right? But there are those times where there are the there are those times where just it doesn't pan out like it did a couple of times this week, where we cut losses early, and then they turned out to be multiple 100% winners. And yeah, I mean it's part of the game, to be honest, but it does definitely suck. Like I got a couple questions saying why don't we just let these plays run? Well, you're asking that because they turn out to be profit. Well, what happens if like these later became like 80% losses? Then you wouldn't be saying that, right? So it's always safe to take that approach, even though sometimes it doesn't work out in their favor. But most of the time, it does. It's just that it's not noticed. So yeah, and Facebook was one of those plays we sold for. Let me pull up my trading view real quick. Um, yeah, Facebook we sold for about a 8%. Sorry, 11% loss, plus 28 cents. Yeah, about 11% loss, but it turned out to be almost an 80% winner later in the day because we started red in the morning and then red to green pretty much. We had those. We had those market days twice this week, so um, yeah. So that was Facebook. I also want to talk about Apple. Apple we bought and then it turned out to be huge. Well, not huge profit. It turned out to be like around 20% profit, I think, at close. But the next day we woke up to Hawaii news. Huawei, I forgot how to pronounce it, but it's the news with the antitrust stuff. So Apple was one of the companies that got affected. Yeah, so Apple was one of the companies that got affected, and it led to the stock being down the next day by a lot. So at green, we saw 20%. We cut it for around a 25% loss. Unfortunately, Splunk was a really good one. We traded the support, the when it held that support on the hourly. Let's pull that up. Yeah, so Splunk held that 145 to 146 support area, and then we bought those calls on that day. Well, we also expected the earnings run up. Splunk, so a bunch of these other security software stocks like Okta. Uh, uh, so what are the other ones that made high days? I'm blanking here. Team, Atlassian, all these other software tech companies that are making all-time highs. Splunk was not one of them, so I figured Splunk is probably a lagger. And I mean, Splunk is a very strong company. Uh, the way they collect data is second to none. So, but yeah, so that was basically a chart play, and AMD was also a really good play. AMD, I personally held a lot into Friday, and it turned out to be a pretty bad decision because we opened red that day. So I had what turned out to be like an 80% gain that I could have secured. I just let it ride pretty much. That was my fault. So, but I mean, it was overall a profitable trade. And last, I want to talk about the following week or this upcoming week. A bunch of big earnings with Walmart, Baidu, Home Depot, Target, Urban Outfitters, Lowe's, Macy's, Nvidia, Splunk, Palo Alto, Firewall Networks, Intuit, Foot Locker, Alibaba, and Hewlett Packard, HP. So a bunch of tech reporting, a bunch of retail reporting. Home Depot and Lowe's, I think, are going to run similarly. Home Depot reports Tuesday pre-market, and Lowe's reports later in the week, so that's something to watch out for. Huawei, yeah, Huawei. Okay, there we go, Huawei. I botched that pretty earlier, but yeah. So Home Depot reports Tuesday pre-market along with Walmart, so that's gonna be a pretty big open. And then Wednesday Lowe's report. So I mean, Home Depot, the only thing is going to be in-store sales. I think is going to be lacking, obviously, but that should be priced in. They're a really strong company. There's no reason that they shouldn't keep running. I mean, they're pretty close to all-time highs again. 250. Yeah, about 248 is their all-time highs. They spiked pretty hard the last two trading days. So, um, uh, Home Depot did reject that 239 resistance. What is this? Sorry, the 240, the 239.8 to 240.77 is that small range of resistance right there. It kind of rejected it on Friday. It did go above it to 243 ish, and then it just closed back down. So something to watch out for, technical wise. We could play the run up. We could buy a day trade tomorrow morning, and then if it does break that resistance, and play that earnings run up, because it could get a run up throughout the day, because we've seen most of these earnings did last week and the week before. So that's something to watch for Home Depot. That's one of my biggest watches this week. Yeah. Splunk is also a strong company. Nvidia, we could play those two. Splunk, Nvidia, and Palo Alto. All well, they're not all techs. Nvidia is more of a semiconductor. Splunk is more software. So is Palo Alto. So, but they're all strong. They've had really good strong run ups. So they're gonna continue getting some momentum in their favor. Especially Nvidia. Nvidia broke from on Friday, broke into all-time highs. Yeah, Friday just destroyed all-time highs with that $18 pump. So it could keep going with that momentum. Splunk has room to go. Palo Alto, let's see, Palo APANW. Palo Alto has a gap fill. Wow, I took. Oh, yeah, we took Palo Alto. We just said we cut it earlier. Yeah, Palo Alto next resistance is around 230, so we could definitely get an $8 run up at the minimum into earnings. That's something to watch out for. Yeah. Any other news this week? We have the unemployment claims, and probably a couple Fed, Powell, Minneapolis, and Atlanta Fed. So those three Fed members are probably gonna be in and out this week. I saw something in options chat that I think Lash posted. Yeah, we're pretty bullish on HD. Yeah, we're pretty bullish on HD. Fed Pal says a Fed mandate to buy individual stocks and ETFs could be a vaccine alternative. Oh, so he's saying that if there's not a vaccine soon, which will pump the market obviously, then the Fed will just buy stocks and ETFs to balance out. Okay, so on 60 Minutes. When I think of 60 Minutes, I think of Sports Center. Yeah, so that's something to watch out for. Yeah, it's probably uh, hold on, I think it's CNBC 60 Minute, right? Or yeah, it's CNBC 60 Minutes. Yeah, it's CNBC 60 Minutes.
It's actually on
So that's something to watch out for.
It's actually on CBS.
Oh, CBS?
Yeah, at 9 p.m.
Okay. That's good to know, CBS. There's so many 60 Minutes. There's Sports Center, CNBC, CBC. Okay, so CBC. Yeah, and also more options to watch. I posted in the document. These are all technicals. Um, DraftKings is my favorite one of the week. The premiums are they're still kind of inflated, but they punched into all-time highs. Sports are starting to come back, especially you see soccer starting to come back. Baseball is rumored to start in July. Football, NFL is gonna have a regular or like it's scheduled on schedule. Also, there's rumors of basketball. NBA should be meeting up this week with the players as well, and they're going to discuss when they're going to open. So it's good to watch DraftKings. Yeah, Stitch Fix is also a good gap filler. If we pull up the daily chart on SFIX, it beat its resistance at $21. It closed above it Friday. It filled that gap. Actually, we were actually aiming for that gap, and we got it. We sold it like I think 18 or 17. I want to say, but it's at 21 now. But we secured profit, so that's what matters. Yeah. So Stitch Fix is a really solid chart. It's starting to become overbought on the daily, so that's something to watch out for. Possible dip. Microsoft and Uber, also solid charts. Microsoft pretty much going to follow the market here. That's a really nice chart. Oh, excuse me. Oh yeah, Pinterest is another one. Pinterest, they didn't have really good earnings, but they're getting a solid run up here on that $16 support that it held a couple past 2 days. Something to watch out for. Pinterest. Penny stocks also I'm looking at technically. Neither of them really. Well, actually, SNDL I remember has a ton of unusual volume, especially Friday. So maybe it could have possible news coming out. I think it's pharmaceutical. Oh no, it's what is this? This is not a pharmaceutical. Seems more like agriculture farm. Yeah, so never mind. It's not pharmaceutical, but it is it is a bottom bouncer. They have earnings. I think. Oh, they already had earnings Friday. Yeah, so they bounced off that a 45-cent area support. It dipped under, held one candle above, and popped right back up. So something to watch out for. Riot mainly because of the Bitcoin, the halving, however you pronounce it. Um, it could get a spike in volume. Bitcoin. So that's something to watch out for. GNC is the supplement stuff. I'm looking at this more technically. If you look on the daily chart, it's bounced off that 38, 39 cent support like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times, including the 14th, and it kind of it could be a wedge breakout. So that's something to watch out for. A bullish wedge breakout. It already kind of broke it, so that's why I'm gonna watch it this week. Yeah. Yep, so that's GNC. The other ones are similar technical wise that we could be watching out. But yeah, do you guys have any other questions? Any trades you want to go over? Any winning, losing trades you want to go over? Trades that you want to know the reasons why we took? I'll be happy to explain. You just any gold stocks? Yeah, that's a very good point. KGC. Wow, KGC broke that flag. I was looking at that yesterday as well. I don't know why I didn't put that on that list. Let me put it on the list right now. I'll put under pennies. KGC. KGC broke its daily bull flag into it's not all time highs, but it is yeah. It broke that resistance into it looks like it has room to about $9.50. So KGC is a gold stock to watch. It's a low cap gold stock to watch. GLD is like the larger ETF. GLD, I honestly would buy technical wise above 165 because that's all time highs. Well, that's not all time highs. That's yearly highs. So I look to get it above 165. Like a close over 165 would be really nice for GLD. But yeah, gold is going to keep getting value um, as the markets continue to be volatile and possibly red, right? With all the China stuff, gold is going to be nice and valuable. So yeah, yep, good tip. Those and arrows, that's a good one. I'll put GLD in options as well. Any other questions, guys? Oh yeah. I wanted to go over that SRNE trade as well. That penny stock, the huge winner on Friday. SRNE. I'm gonna pull up that 5-minute chart. How's Baba looking? Baba should be pretty bearish. Sorry, bullish. My bad. Sorry, bullish. Yeah, it's looking pretty bullish into earnings. My concern is that, yeah, Baba's gonna follow the market. It looks like so. Like the last 4 candles you can see looks exactly like Microsoft, um, Splunk, all the ones we've seen. So it should be bullish in the market. I mean, depending on what the Fed says at 7 o'clock today in a couple hours, and also probably pre-market, we could see it being bullish. I'll lean bullish. Actually, Ryan, do you have a pre-earnings run-up chart for Alibaba?
Yeah, Baba's actually pretty good leading up to earnings. So
Okay. Yeah.
in the past 9 of the last 12 quarters, it's moved up an average of 2.6% 3 days before earnings. And then it's actually gapped up on earnings 5 of the last 6 quarters, an average of 1.6%. I think another thing that's a good data point is JD reported last week, and
Right.
that moved about 4% on earnings. They had some pretty good results.
Yeah. So Baidu reports Monday after hours, so I would probably suggest getting Baba Tuesday and playing it into Wednesday, Thursday, because Baba reports Friday, right? Yeah, Friday. Yep, Friday morning. So yeah, Baidu is another. It reports Monday after hours, so we could see that. I think Bilibili is also a Chinese e-commerce, right? Yeah. Well, Chinese video sharing website. So uh, I don't know if that's as significant, but yeah. So I'll probably get it after Baidu, depending on how Baidu reports. So let's say Baidu does report, slightly worse earnings, then we could see a dip in Alibaba as well, and then we capitalize, right? We buy low, and then we get into Tuesday, Wednesday, because Alibaba is a giant compared to Baidu. Yep. Any other questions, guys? All right, SRNE. I wanted to go over that trade. I'm about to post this. SRNE chart. All right, I'm about to post it in the options chat. So this is a textbook penny stock play. We saw SRNE open, I want to say around 70% up on the day on COVID news. Now, we know that anything related to like the hot topic in the market is going to run crazy. So COVID is the hot topic right now, right? Um, so 60-70% is really discounted and cheap, and we could see that because from around 9:30 that opened to around 10 o'clock it started dipping and then held that support a couple times, right? Double bottomed on that, let's say 380, 390 support, and then our entry was let me check my order history. Our entry was 10:08 a.m. So 10:08 a.m. was pretty much, yeah. So pretty much once we saw confirmation that it was getting more and more volume, and it held that 380 support, and then we entered that. We entered right before that spike, and then boom, it broke into higher days. So we pretty much held that. It never hit my stop loss. I'm pretty sure it didn't. Yeah, I don't have any stop loss. Yeah, never hit a stop loss. And then we saw that short squeeze around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, all the way up to $9. Now I could have sold like around. I probably would have sold around like $7.50, $8 after that run up um, because you can see when it hit 7.5, it had a huge red candle. So I would have held that first flag breakout at 12 o'clock because it didn't break out that much. But knowing me, I would have sold the next one because of that huge breakout, so a breakdown. So I would have sold it there, but it squeezed all the way up to $9. But I was napping at the time. I was tired as hell that morning, so I was napping. But I sold around I think 704 and 711. So I sold at those two exit points for a pretty hefty profit on that trade. But this is textbook. This is textbook penny stock. Huge headline, huge volume, resistance breakout, and then just short squeeze at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock ish area, all the way up to. It turned out to be like a 300% play, 300% gain stock itself. For me, it was like around a 55-60% gain. But yeah. So whenever we see like headlines like that open up like at like 60-70%, that's discounted. It's gonna guaranteed run up to 100 minimum. Yeah. As I so who was gonna watch this after? But as I mentioned, yeah. So cutting losses over time is gonna be great. Cutting it small. So last week was an example of why cutting losses, why a lot of people don't cut losses. But the thing is, I want to say around 80% of the time, those people that don't cut losses, like they um, they get uh, they get fucked over, right? Because that 20% of the time was a couple times last week where we saw a red open into a green market. So they held on many people say diamond hands, right? They were diamond handing it pretty much, and then it turned out to be in their favor. Most of the time that doesn't work. We've seen that so many times, the past couple weeks, months even, that diamond handing does not work. Diamond handing actually makes you pretty much like you're gonna have those losses. So um, yeah, um, it's last week was more tough luck, to be honest, because we stuck to that strategy of cutting losses and it didn't work out in our favor twice. So we're gonna keep sticking to that strategy, cutting losses early. And if you've been here long enough, you'll see that most of the time we made that right decision of cutting it early. Uh, so yeah. How do you stay on top of news? So mainly, I have Twitter notifications on for a couple accounts. Um, I mean, you could pay for advanced news services like Black Box, Benzinga Pro, uh, but I just follow some Twitter accounts and also Thinkorswim. Let me post these this Twitter accounts. one. Another is to Squawk, Live Squawk. Right, and also sometimes like these accounts don't report quick either. So let's say for example we see a $2 drop on SPY, right? And then I don't get a notification on my phone or on my tweet deck. Um, then I'll just do like the $ SPY. It's a Twitter search and see what people are talking about. Maybe they know more. Maybe they have more info than others. Um, and I also check Thinkorswim the news. Like so, if you go to the live news panel on the left, usually it's on the left toolbar. Um, just type in SPY and you see the live news coming up. But yeah, I mean, it's usually me getting notifications on a couple of Twitter accounts, me manually finding information. Sometimes for in voice chat, Luke has the Thinkorswim live news up, the live Squawk news up, so uh, we could hear that there. But yeah, it's just a bunch of different things come into one. Yeah. Oh wait, Luke, are you recording this? Or I totally forgot. I mean, not Luke. Sorry, Ryan.
Yeah, I got it. 301. We're good.
Okay. Oh man, I completely forgot. That's my bad. Sorry. Uh, this week was supposed to be my week too to record. Damn it. Damn. All right. Well, yeah. Thanks for staying on top of that. But yeah. So any other questions, guys? I think we'll just stop it here then. If you guys have any more questions. This week, I don't think we're going to be that volatile, mainly because the Feds aren't really speaking. Maybe some China news middle of the week, but actually, what am I saying? We're going to have a bunch of earnings as well, so could be volatile, but not as much as last week. I don't expect it to be as much as last week. So yeah, a bunch of the pennies that have been having COVID news, like they get it for like 1-2 days, right? That pump, and then they boom, they dump. So I haven't really read up on what their antibody study was. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Pennies are pump and dumps, right? And our job's to try and secure as much of the pumps as we can. So yep. So if there's no more questions, guys, we'll end the call here. If you have any more questions later, you can add me in chat, DM me, whatever you like. If I'm free, I will definitely answer questions. But yeah, so see you guys this week. It's gonna be hopefully a good week for us this week. Hopefully we can capitalize off missed opportunities. Um, yeah, but in terms of strategy, same strategy as always, right? We're gonna cut losses small. Uh, we're gonna continue scaling profits off if you have multiple contracts, multiple shares. Uh, yeah, I know overtime it works out. Last week it didn't, but overtime will work out. So yeah. All right, guys. Have a good week. See you later.